Good morning, good morning, good morning. Grand rising, grand rising, grand rising. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. This is the pre-show mantra. The show will start momentarily. I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be rich. I deserve to be wealthy. I deserve to be free. The more you learn, the more you earn. Thereby, the more you earn, the more you learn. I am a certified Wall Street trapper. I am confident in my abilities to make great investments. The stock market is a machine, and I am more than capable of operating this machine. Let's get started, y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are tuning in from around the globe. Welcome to the $1 Trillion Tickers broadcast, and welcome to the $1 Trillion Tickers family. This is a live market breakdown covering the $1 trillion stocks, SPX, the NAS 100, SPY, and QQQ. We cover pre-market levels, opening bell moves, and headlines that move the market and or are associated with our $1 trillion stocks. We'll be looking at charts, checking out Bitcoin and Ethereum levels, and some motivation along the way. Quick disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. This is for education and entertainment only. Always do your own research, but feel free to use this research as a foundation to your knowledge. Let's get into it. $1 trillion tickers, y'all. $1 trillion tickers. Okay, so NVIDIA, the most valuable company in the world, worth $4.5 trillion. Number 2, Apple, worth $4 trillion. Number 3, Google, $3.8 trillion. Number 4, Microsoft, $3.5 trillion. Number 5, Amazon, $2.4 trillion. Number 6, TSM, $1.65 trillion. Number 7, AVGO, $1.64 trillion. Number 8, Meta, $1.63 trillion. Number 9, Tesla, $1.4 trillion. And number 10, Berkshire.B, $1 trillion, y'all. It looks like Tesla has fallen down the ranks and is now at number 9 because it has fell dramatically from that $500 resistance level, which was an all-time high. Well, I think it for 98. But anyway, let's check on these pre-market levels, y'all. NVIDIA pre-market low, 189.50. Pre-market high, 192.25, y'all. Apple pre-market low, 269.93. Pre-market high, 271.08. Google pre-market low, 315.40. Pre-market high, 316.25. Microsoft pre-market low, 472.50. Pre-market high, 474.45. Amazon pre-market low, 226.90, and pre-market high, 227.90. TSM pre-market low, 327. Pre-market high, 331.90. AVGO pre-market low, 349.33. Pre-market high, 354.35. Meta pre-market low, 347. Pre-market high, 351.05. Tesla pre-market low, 443.25. Pre-market high, 446.15. Berkshire.B pre-market low, 494.56. Pre-market high, 497.40. The VIX is back over 15. It gapped up over the weekend, The VIX is at 1501 right now. SPY pre-market low 684.25, pre-market high 686.24. QQQ pre-market low 615.81, pre-market high 618.77. SPX pre-market low 6,864, pre-market high 6,887. The NAS 100 pre-market low 25,271, pre-market high 25,429. As you can see, mostly everything has gapped up over the weekend and is headed to the upside in the pre-market, y'all. Sounds good to me. Shout out to everybody on YouTube Live and TikTok Live. If you're on TikTok Live and you want to see my full screen, if this is not enough for you, check out my YouTube. I'm streaming live over there as well. Well, actually, with my new camera angle, you can see the full screen. So I did that for y'all on TikTok because I know when I first started streaming it a few days ago, the angle wasn't correct. But I corrected the angle, so salute to y'all on TikTok. All right, let's get to some news, y'all. This first piece of news is from Buffett. Well, it's not news, but it's motivation. It's some knowledge for the stock market, y'all. Check it out.
In investing, there's no called strikes. People can throw Microsoft at me and, you name it, any stock, General Motors, and I don't have to swing. And nobody's going to call me out on call strikes. I only get a strike called if I swing at a pitch and miss. So I can wait there and look at thousands of companies day after day. And only when I see something I understand and when I like the price at which it's selling, then if I swing, if I hit it, fine. If I miss it, it's a strike. But it's an enormously advantageous game. And it's a terrible mistake to think you have to have an opinion on everything. You only have to have an opinion on a few things. In fact, I've told students, if when they got out of school, they got a punch card with 20 punches on it, and that's all the investment decisions they got to make in their entire life, they would get very rich because they would think very hard about each one. And you don't need 20 right decisions to get very rich. 4 or 5 will probably do it over time. Ted Williams.
There it is. You don't need to get 20 investment decisions right. All you need is 4 or 5, and that's probably it. That's game from Warren Buffett, the greatest investor of all time, y'all. That's real game. Get 4 or 5 correct and put your money into those, and you'll be set. You don't have to get 20 investments correct, y'all. All right, this next piece of news comes from Unusual Whales. Elon Musk said double-digit growth is coming within 12 to 18 months, y'all. Sounds good to me, Elon, for sure. Check it out on Twitter. Chamath. He said, people I know with a collective net worth of $500 billion scrambled and left California for good last week. They took no risk because of the proposed asset seizure tax introduced as the billionaire tax. Without these people, the California budget deficit will only get bigger. This hole gets filled in one of 2 ways: more borrowing from the bond market, who is purely financial and unforgiving, or more taxes on everyone else. Meanwhile, waste, fraud, and abuse runs rampant from the hundreds of billions in revenue the state already collects. And all right, our next piece of news. I thought this was interesting. It shows the largest companies in the world by market cap over the last 36 years. So starting in 1989, the biggest company in the world was ExxonMobil. So from 89 to 95, ExxonMobil was the biggest company in the world. 96 and 97, Coca-Cola. 98 and 99, Microsoft. 2000, ExxonMobil was back. 2001 to 2003, Microsoft, the biggest company in the world. ExxonMobil comes back in 2004 through 2011. So you see when oil was running the market, y'all. Oil was running the market in the 90s and in the early 2000s, y'all. And then in 2012, Apple takes the reign as the most valuable company in the world. From 2012 all the way through 2017, it was Apple. 2018, Microsoft came back. 2019 through 2024, Apple was the king. 2025, NVIDIA dethroned Apple, y'all. NVIDIA dethroned Apple as the most valuable company in the world. And NVIDIA also is the only company to ever have a $5 trillion market cap, y'all. So I just wanted to go over that. So companies that lead, they usually lead for a long time, with that ExxonMobil, Microsoft, and Apple being examples of that. All right. This next piece of news comes from Bar Chart. Foreigners net bought more than $700 billion worth of U.S. stocks over the last 12 months. That's the largest inflow this century. So foreigners are investing in the United States stock market. So if you are in the United States and you are not investing in the United States stock market, you are missing out on gains, and you are letting foreigners take your gains, basically. Okay. This next piece of news comes from Benzinga. Disney CEO Bob Iger has long believed that leadership is not just about results, but about character. In recent remarks in his book, The Ride of a Lifetime, Iger emphasized that one quality matters more than most people realize. That quality is genuine decency. Iger describes it as an instinct for fairness, openness, and mutual respect. He argues that it is far rarer in business than it should be and is often overlooked during hiring. Iger does not dismiss the importance of skills or experience. He believes competence matters, but says character is what determines whether a workplace actually functions well over time. Talent without decency can erode trust and damage culture. There's more to it, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. You get the point, y'all. You get the point. Oh, this is a quick clip from Jensen, CEO of NVIDIA. He was sitting down with the Lenovo chairman and CEO. Check it out.
So looking forward, Jensen, how should we take our partnership to a new level?
Well, we quintupled it in the last 2 years. There's no reason why we can't quintuple it again in the next 2 years.
Absolutely.
Every company is using AI. Every industry will be built on top of it, and every country will build AI infrastructure.
Yeah.
Ooh. He said we're going to quintuple over the next 2 years again. So should we be looking into that company? That's Lenovo. Because they doing big business with NVIDIA, y'all. All right, this next piece of news, this is from Ian Dunlap. It says, this is a post that he made in 2017. It says, learn from the masters. Went to a conference last year where I saw investors who had $600,000 in their checking account, not savings or portfolio, $600K and multi-million-dollar portfolios. They were not showing to brag, but to give context. Sat me down for 20 minutes and told me every major lesson he learned in his 20 years of experience in the market. Save yourself the headache. Go talk to someone who has mastered what you're trying to do. That 20 minutes literally changed my life. That's good game. That's good game from Ian. All right. This is from Stock Market News on Twitter. Spot Bitcoin ETFs posted 471 million in inflows on the first day of trading of 2026. So a lot of money went back into IBIT and other Bitcoin ETFs, y'all. All right, market is about to open. Let's see what we got. Market open, market open, market open. Let's go, let's go, let's go. January 5th, 2026. The market is open. NVIDIA got a nice big candle to start. Let's go to the 1 minute chart so we can see the movement, y'all. The market is open. NVIDIA is up over 2% right now at 193.22. Apple is down fractionally at 270.70. Google is up over 1% at 318.50. Microsoft is at break even at 473. Amazon is up almost 1% at 228.65. TSM is up over 3.5%, y'all. TSM is running, y'all. It's at $330.40. AVGO is up over 1.25% at 351.50. Meta is barely over break even at 650.50. Tesla is up almost 2% at 446, y'all. Berkshire.B is down over 0.25% at 495. The VIX is up almost 3%, but it is under 15 at 1493. SPY is up over 0.5% at 687.34. QQQ is up almost 1% at 618.80. SPX is up over 0.5% at 6,899. And the NAS 100 is up 1% at 25,430, y'all. All right, let's get back into some game from our brothers here at Earn Your Leisure. He talks about entrepreneurship.
For me, I'm always going to support the entrepreneurs, for sure. I'm always going because we need it. We need entrepreneurs. But I just don't want people to I want people to fully be aware of what all of the aspects of it is. Mm-hmm. You gotta go through everything. You gotta go through everything in life. But I feel that a lot of times people have set themselves up for failure. We talked about this before. You're starting the wrong businesses. You're starting businesses that are not scalable. You're really changing one job for another. For sure. You're a self-employed employee, if that makes any sense. Where you are just working for yourself, but you're not a really an entrepreneur in the sense of having the ability to have some level of creativity, freedom, employ people, scale in different varieties, and start different businesses. Like, you just literally got to do one thing every single day, all day, and that's what you're going to be doing for the next 10 years. That's not necessarily a recipe for business. Business is like, you're supposed to be scaling. You're supposed to be thinking about new ideas. You're supposed to be doing new ventures. You're supposed to be meeting new people. You're supposed to be employing people. That's business at the highest level, right? Like, that's what we need. Not necessarily just people that are employed by themselves.
Ooh, Rashad over here dropping game, y'all. Oh, if you're wondering what I have on my screen now, this is the TradingView platform. I do have the 8 most valuable companies in the world. From left to right, on the top row, I have NVIDIA, then Apple, then Google, then Microsoft. And on the bottom row, I have Amazon, then TSM, then Broadcom, then Meta. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur, was he talking to you? Rashad was dropping some game right there. Yeah, we got to get in. I definitely got to start my entrepreneurship path because I'm tired of working. You know what I mean? but I don't want to just be a self-employed employee like he said. I definitely got to plan out my business. I got some ideas, and yeah, I can't wait till we run it up. All right, this next piece of news is from Invest Wisdom on Twitter. It's actually from Warren Buffett. They quoted Buffett. Cash combined with courage in a crisis is priceless. Oh, that was a bar. That was a bar right there. Let me find out Warren Buffett be rhyming, y'all. Let me find out Buffett be rhyming, y'all. I thought this was interesting. The highest paid CEOs in the U.S. Jim Anderson from Coherent, $101 million a year. Number 2, Brian Nickel, Starbucks, $95 million a year. Number 3, Larry Culp Jr. from GE, $87 million a year. Number 4, Satya Nadella from Microsoft, $79 million a year. Number 5, Tim Cook, $74 million a year. So I'm only do the top 5. If you want to see the rest of the list, it does give a top 20 here, but you have to look for it yourself. The Twitter handle is The Market Mind. All right. Next motivation comes from Zay on Twitter. Your job as a trader is to find the best trades, not to trade every day. Only a few understand this. Ooh, that's real game right there, y'all. That's real game. Oh, you know what we need to check on? So yesterday I did that live stream, and I was talking about the oil companies, right, that could possibly benefit from the invasion of Venezuela by the U.S. So let's see what we have. Okay, so it did gap up. So this is the 10-minute chart, and it's showing this was the close on Friday, and this is the pre-market, and this is today. This is the first candle of the day. So it did gap up overnight. It is up almost 3%. That's XLE. Let's check out XLM. It also did gap up, but it is heading down today. But it's up almost 2% on the day. And then Chevron, this was the number one that I said was gonna run. So it is up over 4.25% on the day. It was way up here during the pre-market, but it is slowly descending. But I do have this. Remember, I showed y'all how I made this this demand zone, right? This supply zone up here based on these March levels. So when it came up here in the pre-market, what happened? It rejected. See, this is a supply. This is that supply level that I put on the chart yesterday. As you can see, it came up here in the pre-market, but it was so many sellers right here that it ended up selling it down. So shout out to my technical analysis skills, y'all. All right, let's check out COP. You see it gapped up. It gapped up here in the pre-market, but it is slowly descending and selling off. But it is currently up over 4%. Ooh, look at this one. SLB, y'all. That thing is up over 8% right now. It's up over 8%. It was up even more in the pre-market, but look, here it is now. So this is also a supply zone. So I'm wondering if this supply zone can turn into a demand zone now that price is actually over. So we'll see when it comes down here. In the pre-market, it did just stop exactly at our supply zone, and it looks like that's what happened. But that wasn't a pre-market, so I'm wondering if it touches it in the open market, will that happen? But as you can see, right exactly to that point, because remember, I put this on, this pre-market was not here when I put this supply zone here. And as you can see, it came down exactly to my supply zone. Let me move it over here for the TikTok community to see. But yeah, so shout out to that. Shout out to everybody that watched my technical analysis yesterday on these energy stocks. And the last one I did was HAL, which is up almost 8% on the day, y'all. That's Halliburton. That's Halliburton, y'all. And as you can see, I drew this trend line yesterday. I was like, when it hits here, it's possible that it's going to reject. But I did say it may open up over. So my predictions were correct. Shout out to that, y'all. All right, and as you can see, it did open up here, but it ended up pulling back. And then once it pulled back, right to my trend line. And it has since rejected and has not been back to that trend line. So shout out to my technical analysis on that. Let's check out some other stocks that I like to check out on the show. AMD, y'all, how is AMD doing? AMD is up over 2.5%, y'all. Shout out to AMD. It's currently at 229.21. Bitcoin is back over 90,000, y'all. Bitcoin is at 90,700. Oh, now it's moving up. Bitcoin is now up 92,800, moving up, y'all. IBIT is up over 3.5% at 52.72. Ethereum, y'all. Ethereum is back over 3,000. Ethereum is sitting at 3,152, y'all. BMNR is back. It's moving. It's up over 4.5% on the day so far. BMNR is at 32.49, y'all. Palantir is up almost 3%, y'all. Palantir is up to 172.61. Hood is up 3%, y'all. 3% on the day, y'all. Hood is at 118.60, y'all. Grab is up 1% at 513, and XLG is up almost 1% at 59.33, y'all. Shout out to them, man. It's a lot of green. Let's check out the heat map, y'all. Sound like it's a lot of green on the heat map, y'all. Yes, it is. Look at finance. A lot of green over here, y'all. A lot of green. So we got Berkshire is up almost 0.75%. JP Morgan is up over 1.75%. Visa is up over 1%. Morgan Stanley and Bank of America are both up over 2%. Wells Fargo is up over 1.5%. MasterCard is up over 0.75%, y'all. Amazon is up almost 1.5%. Tesla is up almost 3%. AVGO, super red today, is down almost 3%, y'all. Apple is down over 1%. Coca-Cola down over 1%. Procter & Gamble is down over 0.5%. Johnson & Johnson down 1.5%. All right. Utilities are super red. Look at utilities, y'all. Super red. Everything is red. A few grays and one green, y'all. Producer manufacturing. Caterpillar is up almost 3%, y'all. Lam Research is up 4.3%, y'all. And AMAT is up 3.5%, y'all. All right, let's check out the Fear and Greed Index. Let's see where we at. The Fear and Greed Index is in neutral, y'all. Fear and Greed Index is in neutral. It is sitting at 46. It is very close to fear, but it still is in neutral, y'all. Okay, for my day traders, y'all. So what I did here is I have this 4-quadrant chart display here. So in the top left hand corner, I have the 5-minute chart. And then to the right, I have a 20-minute chart. Underneath here, on the left at the bottom, I have a 1-hour chart. And over here on the right, I have a 4-hour chart. So I do have the algo on here. So I want to see if I can find some trades for y'all. Or if the algo could find some trades for y'all. So let's check it out. So let's start with SPY, y'all. Let's see what we got. Wait for the algo to kick in. All right, so the algo did give us a buy in the pre-market, but we are looking for a signal while the market is open. Because if you had taken this buy at market open, which would have been here, that was a lot higher than the actual entry point, so we're not going to count that one. Now let's just run through these tickers and see if we have any. There was a sell on the 5-minute. The entry here at 617.98, but it did not hit TPU1, and now it is headed back up. So hopefully you didn't take that one. But I didn't call that one out. I'm just reading the chart, y'all. Let's look for another one. Let's see. On the 5-minute, oh, we got a new. Oh, once. So we do have a new buy signal here on Apple on the 5-minute, y'all. So we do have to wait until this candle closes. So you got about 3.5 minutes before this candle closes to see if the buy signal is still there. Because as you can see, when price moves, see, now the buy signal is gone. And now it's back. So that's why you have to wait until the candle closes. You can't just do it immediately as soon as you see the signal. All right. It did have a strong sell here on the 20, but that was in the pre-market. Check out AVGO, y'all. It's definitely got to have a strong sell, or at least a sell. Okay, so it had a strong sell here on the opening candle here on the 5-minute on AVGO. The entry was 344.89. Had you taken this trade, you'd be up $7. TP1 is 334.76. It did get a strong sell here. I think I should change this to the 10-minute because my shows are not that long. And then I'll change this. Yeah, so this is, well, yeah. So this is for the day traders, this is for the swing traders. So we got the hour and the 4-hour on the bottom, and then for the day traders, I got the 5 and the 10 for y'all. All right, I would do the 15, but my show don't be that long. Okay, so we do have a strong sell here on AVGO on our 10-minute chart. So the entry is 339.20, and had you gotten into that, you'd be up $1.48, y'all. Amazon, let's check out Amazon for the day traders. I'm gonna just let y'all look at the chart at the bottom for the swing traders. I'm gonna just say these out for the day traders. Okay, we had some signals, but they were in the pre-market, so I'm not gonna call those out. Nah, I'll call them out for the swing traders as well. Why not? Okay, on the 5-minute on Google, we did have a sell call here at 6 o'clock. What? Not 6 o'clock. At 6:35, excuse me. At 6:35, and the entry was 316.32. It did hit TP1, and it has since reversed. So had you got into that, you would hit TP1, but you would have to exit immediately at TP1. All right. Okay, I'll remember that we stopped at Google. Let me go back to this 8 most valuable companies in the world charts while I read some more news, y'all. All right. Oh, I thought this was pretty funny. On CNN, they was talking about Pelosi.
Grudging respect for.
This is a 1 minute, y'all.
She made them really angry, but at the end of the day, there was often grudging respect for some of the skills that she brought to the table.
Oh yeah, there were people who respected her legislative ability and being a political boss. I mean, she was the boss of her conference.
Nancy D'Alessandro.
And there is for political operators a lot of respect for that. I'll tell you this: I don't know how much we raised over the years off of sending out fundraising appeals based on Nancy Pelosi, but it was a metric butt ton. I'm telling you right now, putting Nancy Pelosi in fundraising mail or fundraising emails would always produce. And by the way, it's not often that someone can become a titan of both Washington and Wall Street. Republicans will remember her as one of the most successful and prolific day traders. She beat the S&P 500 by 559% in her stock portfolio. She's worth a lot of money. She did an amazing job. So what a blow for the financial houses today on Wall Street. I'm sure they're mourning. Just getting in an elbow, right?
Yeah, really great to get into opposition. That's a classic Scott Jennings, by the way. Like, I'm beginning to view what you just did there. It's like the Scott Jennings on TV.
I want Trump to put her in charge of the Social Security Administration. We could all retire in 6 months if we let this lady manage our portfolios.
Do you know what I think is?
Oh, that's the wrong button. Where's the live? He said Trump should put her in charge of the Social Security Administration, and we could all retire in 6 months. All right, this next piece of news comes from Elon.
That's our GOOGL. So we're expanding integration to produce 1,000 starships per year. Well, yeah, that hasn't been built yet, but we're building it. That is a truly enormous structure. This will be that'll be one of the biggest structures. I think by some measures, the biggest structure in the world. And it's designed for 1,000 starships a year.
So it says SpaceX is going to produce starships like their airplanes. With a $250 million gigabay at Starbase, the company is accelerating starship production. The 700,000 square foot facility is designed to manufacture up to 1,000 rockets per year, y'all. All right, this next piece of news comes from Palantir CEO Alex Karp.
What I see in these numbers, and what I think we see in these numbers is, to put it slightly over the top. Yeah, we were right, you were wrong, and we are going to go very, very deep on our rightness because it is exceedingly good for America. It's exceedingly good for the American economy. It's as good for American workers. And you know what? I really enjoy turning on TV and seeing some analysts explain why some other company is better than ours simply because they didn't make any money on our company and probably aren't. And we're just going to keep going and going and going. And then we're obviously not going to forecast for next year. But I would say, if you're thinking about how this company is going to go, look at our ability to value create. Look at our ability to create revenue on the top end. Look at it. Look at the unit economics of our business. If you're a technical expert in how do you evaluate business, evaluate those numbers against any other business you've ever seen, and then make your decision.
Ooh, Karp talking. Karp is talking, y'all. Let's check out Palantir, man. Palantir is up on the day. Almost 4%. Palantir is up. It's currently sitting at 174, y'all. I want to get some Palantir stocks, man, but I need a discount, man. It's too close to all-time highs. Let me see Palantir. Here we go. Palantir all-time high, 207, y'all. 207. Yeah. Let me see. How much discount is that? Ooh, that thing 16% off. Oh, man. It might be time to buy it, y'all. Do I need to buy some Palantir shares today? Hold on. Let me take this magnet off. Am I tripping? Or is Palantir on super discount right now? Oh, that thing 16% off, y'all. Palantir is 16% off, y'all. Palantir is a buy right now, y'all. Palantir is a buy. Because, you know, we want the minimum of 10% off. But Palantir is 16% off. So after 10%, we wait for 15. So after 15, we go to 20. But it's more than 15% off. So if you want to buy a Palantir, it's a good buy right now. Even though, I mean, it did run dramatically on the year. Like, it was crazy. This run up in 2025 was just phenomenal. Like, let me show you what Palantir did. Actually, it's easier to show if I just go on this yearly chart. Palantir did 135% last year, y'all. It was up $100. So it's definitely been running. Like, man, whoever was invested in this, they made a bag. They made a super bag. So that is what makes me kind of hesitant, because it ran so much last year. Like, look at this. From April all the way to October, it just ran phenomenally. From April lows at 66, it ran all the way to over 200, y'all. That's freaking crazy. That's freaking crazy, y'all. So I definitely want to buy some Palantir. Based on his monthly chart, I really want it right here. 147.88. So I'll say 150. I really want it at 150, y'all. Because the way these buyers stepped in here and brought it all the way up to 197. Let me see, how much discount would that be? If we can get it here. That would be 28.5% off, y'all. If I can get Palantir at 150, then I think that is where you need to drop a significant bag on Palantir. Under that, I would say 126.18, y'all. I would drop the second part of the bag. And then if there's a recession and whatnot, I don't think it's going no 66. Yeah, I would have this 126 as my second entry on Palantir. I'm not gonna give a third entry. I don't think it's gonna go that long. But let me get back to the ticker. $1 trillion tickers, y'all. $1 trillion tickers. All right, NVIDIA. Let's get back on it. NVIDIA. I'm gonna go on the 5-minute chart so y'all can see. NVIDIA is up a little over 0.5% at 190. Apple is down 0.5% at 269. Google is up over 0.5% at 317. Microsoft is down fractionally at 472. Amazon is up 1.75% at 230.47. TSM is up almost 1.5% at 324. AVGO is down 2.25% at 339. Meta is up almost 1.25% at 658. Tesla is up 3% at 451. Berkshire.B is up over 1% at 502.81. The VIX is headed back to 15, y'all. The VIX is at 14.95. SPY is up 0.5% at 686.95. QQQ is up 0.75% at 617.87. SPX is up over 0.5% at 6,895. And the NASDAQ 100 is up almost 1% at 25,405, y'all. Let's get into some more news. Elon Musk said he's in support of the people of Venezuela, and he's providing free broadband services until February 3rd. This quick 12-second clip It's from Jamie Dimon talking about crypto.
Blockchain is real. It's been around for quite a while, but now it's becoming more effective, more efficient, because people are finding ways to do it faster and cheaper, permission or not permission. Smart contracts, I think, will probably be real.
So he used to be a super crypto bear, and now he's a crypto bull. All right, I got this 1 minute clip from Kathy Wood about inflation in 2026, y'all.
So we think next year could be somewhat of a Goldilocks year. And I think the market is beginning to understand that because it has weathered two very difficult storms this year, tariff turmoil and the government shutdown, as well as all of the hawkish rhetoric from the Fed after Miran entered, a Trump appointee, and really, I think, forced others to lean in the other direction. So lots of hope for 2026, some of which has been discounted by the market. But if we're right, growth will be much stronger, and importantly, inflation will be much, much lower than it has been with tariffs. And we think at some point it could drop to zero or below zero if we're right on oil continuing to fall and rents fall.
Sound good to me, Kathy. Let's make it happen. Inflation is zero sometime in 2026, y'all. Inflation is zero. We need it. Stop letting inflation eat up your money in your savings account. But if it goes to zero, you won't have to worry about that. But it's been eating your money up crazy recently. Speaking of inflation, today I will be dropping a 4 minute clip that I created with Google Slides and Notebook LM. And it is a beginner's guide to investing. 15 questions every beginner has. And it's pretty dope. So I'm going to be dropping that at 2 p.m. So definitely check it out at 2 p.m. y'all on YouTube. All right, this next piece of news comes from Unusual Whales. Amazon caught a North Korea IT worker by tracing keystroke data. Keystroke data from the laptop of a worker who was supposed to be in the U.S. should have taken tens of milliseconds to reach Amazon's Seattle headquarters. Instead, the flow from his machine was more than 110 milliseconds. Ooh, you talk about the details, boy. You talk about the details. So, the data took more than 10 times the amount of time that it should have took, 11 times. So that made them figure out that he was 11 times further away than he was supposed to be, meaning he's not even in America, and he's actually in North Korea. Wow, that's pretty crazy, y'all. That's pretty crazy. Shout out to Amazon for catching dude. All right, this next piece of news comes from Walter Bloomberg on Twitter. MicroStrategies Bitcoin holdings reach 673,783. That is $50 billion worth of Bitcoin, y'all. Strategy acquired 1,200 Bitcoin in late December and early January, raising the total holdings to that number I just said as of yesterday, y'all. The purchases were funded through an at-the-market equities offering. During 2025, the company reported a $5.4 billion unrealized loss on digital assets, offset by a $1.55 billion deferred tax benefit. Shout out to Michael Saylor, man, trying to get it done, man, with the Bitcoin treasury. This is from Forbes. A year ago, unpaid credit card debt hit its highest levels since the financial crisis and has remained elevated ever since. Woo! Next piece of news from Unusual Wells. The number of people holding multiple jobs is at an all-time high. That is 9.3 million people have multiple jobs, y'all. Alright, this next piece of news comes from Market Watch on Twitter. Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM, gained over 45% last year. And an analyst at Goldman Sachs says they can do it again in 2026, y'all. Alright. This next piece is from, Trump is always giving us some comic relief. Where's my laugh button at? Here we go.
Say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more dog sled. It's true. They thought that...
Trump, man. Trump always got the comic relief for the show, man. He said Denmark added one more dog sled. Shout out Trump, man. Oh, yeah, I thought this was crazy. So, this next piece of news comes from Market Watch. There was a trader who made $400,000 in profits because the U.S. took action on Venezuela. So, this was one of those prediction market type of bets. So, he had bet on Polymarket, which is one of the prediction markets that rival Robinhood. So it says an anonymous trader turned a $30,000 bet on Polymarket into $400,000 by wagering on the ouster of Venezuelan President Maduro, which materialized after the U.S. military strikes captured him a couple days ago. The U.S. invasion involving airstrikes and extrajudicial rendition of Maduro and his wife prompted an emergency UN Security Council meeting requested by Venezuela and supported by China and Russia, sparking global concerns over regional stability and oil markets. The trader's precise timing has fueled speculation of insider information. Like, how did he know that? How did he know that he was no longer going to be the president in February? So he had some insider information and he put 30 racks up and now he made 400 racks. An anonymous trader, y'all. Man, it's so powerful to be able to have insider information. This next piece of news comes from Reuters Business. It's about a company in Venezuela.
Venezuela's state-run oil company, PDVSA, has begun cutting crude production. The company is running out of storage capacity due to an ongoing U.S. oil blockade. PDVSA's move includes shutting down oil fields or well clusters as onshore stops mount. Caracas is in a political crisis under an interim government after President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were captured by U.S. forces on Saturday. Oil exports, Venezuela's main source of revenue, are now at a standstill following a U.S. blockade on tankers under sanctions and a seizure of 2 crude cargoes last month. Shipments by U.S. giant Chevron bound for the United States had been an exception, as the company has a license from Washington, but weekend data shows that even those have now stopped. U.S. President Donald Trump said Saturday that an oil embargo on the country was in full force. Venezuela's oil minister, Delcy Rodriguez, who is now the country's interim president, said last month that the country would continue producing and exporting crude despite the U.S. measures. But the US pressure has forced PDVSA to store oil in vessels since late December and slow down cargo deliveries at its main port. If loaded tankers cannot depart, company executives and experts view more output cuts as unavoidable. Oil prices drifted lower Monday despite the turmoil, as adequate global supplies offset worries about disruption in Venezuela.
Woo, man. The U.S. is crazy. All right, so that's it for the news. I'm gonna run these numbers one more time on our $1 trillion tickers. I'm gonna run the numbers on the other ones that we cover. Oh, what I haven't covered yet is the ETF. So let me cover the sectors. So XLK, our technology sector, is up almost 1% at 145.48. XLY, which is consumer discretionary, is up almost 2% at 120.37. XLC is up almost 1% at 117.87. XLF is up over 2.25% at 56.18. XLV is down 1.25% at 153.55. XLP is down 1%, almost 1% at $77. XLE is up 0.5% at 45.90. XLU is down almost 2% at 42.40. XLI is up almost 1% at 159.44, and XLRE is down over 0.5% at $40.13. Let's check out our $1 trillion tickers. NVIDIA is up 0.5% at 189. Apple is almost at break even at 270. Google is up 0.75% at 317. Microsoft a little over break even at 473. Amazon is up over 2% at 231. TSM is up over 1.25% at 323. AVGO is down almost 2% at 341. Meta is up over 1.5% at 661. Tesla is up over 3.5% at 453. Berkshire.B is up almost 1% at 501. The VIX is at 1484. SPY is up over 0.5% at 687.52. QQQ is up 1% at 619. SPX is up over 0.5% at 6,899, and the NAS 100 is up over 1% at 25,447. AMD is up almost 1% at 225. Bitcoin is up 2% at 93,400. iBit is up 4% at 53. Ethereum is up 0.5% at 3,158. BMNR is up over 2.5% at $32. Palantir is up almost 4% at 174. Hood is up 3.5% at 119. Grab is up 1% at 514, and XLG is up over 0.5% at 59.41, y'all. That's it, y'all. That's it. Let's check the oil one more time. So XLE, yeah, looks like the gains are slowly falling, y'all. But it's still up. It's still up over 0.5% on the day. XOM is up 0.25% on the day. Chevron is up 3% on the day. But as you can see, the oil stocks pumped during the pre-market, and they are just falling on the day. ConocoPhillips is up almost 1%. XLB, this is our winner so far. It's up 7.5% at 43.23. And as you can see, it looks like this was the first attempt of price to turn this supply zone into demand. So it did bounce on here. So if it can stay above here, then that would turn this supply zone into demand. And it has done it on the first attempt. And then Halliburton is up almost 7%, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to $1 Trillion Tickers. Shout out to everybody on YouTube Live and TikTok Live. Let's get the money, y'all. Let's run this bag up. That's what we're gonna do in 2026. We finna get this money for real. That's it. I gotta cut the show short. I gotta go to work. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial